So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.
What's up YouTube, this is Joe from Zephyr War Games and I'm bringing to you guys a deck profile on Super Heavy Samurais. I want to say an update, but I've personally never done a Super Heavy Samurai deck profile. And I'm not even sure if there is one on the channel. There probably is one from many years ago, but Super Heavy Samurai hasn't really had anything great lately until this nice card came out. Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. We've been looking forward to this card as well as one main deck monster for the deck for ages. Like, feels like years. Like, this is a really fun deck to play. It's very unique as well in the sense that it is one of the few decks, if you don't count like many people's variants of like Burning Abyss, where like 99 to 100% of your deck is just monsters, and I really find that unique, and that's the base playstyle. The deck doesn't want to have spells and traps in the graveyard, thus you don't want to play spells and traps. There's probably like 1 or 2 spells and traps you can play in the deck. I'm playing one of them, and the other one I got in like a little side pack on the side, in case I want to play it. But yes, so this is a really cool deck, really fun, really cheap as well. Like, there's only like one really, I don't want to say really expensive card, but there's only like one pricey card for what it is in the deck, which I'll get to later in the profile. But other than that, you can pick this card on a very cheap budget, just to like literally build together, have a little fun with like people at your locals and stuff like that. Just have a little bit of fun. Attacking in defense mode, guys, as well. Like, since when was the last time something did that? Like Rampart Blaster, and even then it didn't actually attack. So before I get into the profile, guys, if you enjoy this, give us a like and subscribe down below and ding that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any future content here on the channel. Because obviously, if you're enjoying the content and you want to see more of it, you don't want to miss it, and that notification bell helps prevent that. And we really do appreciate you guys doing that. So before that's said and done, let's get into this Super Heavy Samurai deck profile. Starting off with your main deck boss monsters, I'm playing a 2 Big BNK and a 1 Super Heavy Samurai General Jade. These are essentially your main deck boss monsters. These have high defense, but they can attack in defense mode, applying the defenses of damage. Big BNK is the biggest one at 3500 defense and has the effect that when this card is normal or special summon, you can change its battle position. Essentially, when you summon it, it has to be in attack mode, but then you can change it straight to defense. Essentially, summoning in defense mode. Super Heavy Samurai monsters you control can attack while in defense mode, and if they do, apply the defense as damage calculation. So the cool thing is that he applies it to all Super Heavy Samurais, because not all Super Heavy Samurais have that effect where they can attack in defense and apply defense as damage. But while you control Big BNK, everyone can do it. And Jade is your low scale pendulum. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except Super Heavy Samurais. This effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, you can target 1 Super Heavy Samurai you control, increase its level by 1, even if this card leads to field, so you can help you go into your synchro plays. And then it has 2800 defense, and you can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster. When this card's normal special summon, change its battle position. This card can attack one to face that defensive position. If it does, applies defense as damage. So he's not like Big BNK, he doesn't give that effect to everybody. But being able to just get this card out for 1 tribute and have a 2800 that can just start swinging at your opponents, very nice. And then your other low scale that is archetypal themed, which we'll get to later on, is 1 Super Heavy Samurai General Cole. So he's a scale 8, level 1. While you have spell and trap cards in your graveyard, this card's pendulum scale becomes 4. But you don't have to worry about that at all. Once per turn, when a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can activate its effect. That monster can make a second attack in a row, even if this card leaves the field. His monster effect is that if you have no spell trap cards in your graveyard, you can contribute up to 2 Super Heavy Samurai monsters, draw that many cards, or else you can use this effect of General Call once per turn. You're really going to be using that effect, you're mostly going to be using him as a scale effect, allowing your big beaters to attack twice. Moving on to the newest of the super heavy samurais that we've been waiting for so long is Super Heavy Samurai Wagon. So he's a level 4 machine with 1200 attack and 1800 defense. While when this card's normal special summon, you can change its battle position. It can attack and defense. In defense position, apply defense as damage. So if you have no spell trap cards in your graveyard, you can change this face up defense position once you control to attack position. And if you do, add one Super Heavy Samurai Soul monster from your deck to your hand. You can use the effect of Wagon once per turn. That gets to very important later on because we have one really busted soul card in the deck that starts getting off all of your searches and helps you get all of your plays going. 2 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Flutist. This is the one that is the priciest card in the deck. Like, I had to pay £5 for these 2 copies. I'm thinking it's Super Heavy Samurais. And I'm paying a £5 bill to get 2 copies of this. But it's worth it because Super Heavy Samurai Flutist is a level 3 machine with 500 attack and 1000 defense. You contribute this card, special summon one Super Heavy Samurai monster from your hand. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets the Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, you can manage this card from the graveyard and negate the activation if you destroy that card. You can use each effect of Flutist once per turn. So this can help you get your big Benkei out your hand if you need to, and having that graveyard protection is very, very nice. So it warrants its price. I believe that the only reason it's so high is because it hasn't actually had a reprint. So hopefully Konami will reprint the Flutist. We're playing 2 copies of Magnet. This essentially helps you do like a magnet lock. So what Super Heavy Samurai Magnet does is that when this card's normal summon, you can special summon one level 4 lower Super Heavy Samurai from your hand. Then change this card's defense position. Monsters your opponent controls cannot attack any monsters except this one, 1900 defense. So if you magnet into a magnet, you're essentially magnet locked because then your opponent can't attack anything on your side of the field. So it's a fun little gimmick, but not only that, it essentially helps you start going up with your combos because you normal this, summon another Super Heavy Samurai like Wagon. Wagon can then search your soul, equip the soul, do things like that, start getting your searches off, synchro plays, so on and so forth. 2 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Thief. So what Thief does is that he is a level 10 machine with 1000 stats. If you have no spell and trap cards in your graveyard, super summon this card from your hand. After this card was special summoned this way, you cannot special summon monster for the rest of the turn except Super Samurai. So you contribute this card, then activate one of these effects. Destroy one card in your opponent's spell and trap card zones, then you can set that destroy spell and trap card zone on your side of the field. Destroy one card in your opponent's pendulum scale and place that destroyed card in your pendulum zone. So it steals your opponent's back row and pendulum scale, which is very, very nice. So because you're locked out from playing spells and traps, so you can start using Thief to start stealing your opponent's stuff. Other than that, it's just a free extender. I'll ask you into Super Heavy Samurai, but you don't really care. I'm playing 1 copy of Big Warji. This is a free summon that can count as 2 tributes for a tribute summon of Super Heavy Samurai, but the fact that it's a free extender, that just locks you into Super Heavy Samurais or machines, I believe Super Heavy Samurai. It's just nice. I like the free extender, the free summon, and on the odd cases, the double tribute count for my big Benkei. 3 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Scales. So Super Heavy Samurai Scales has an effect that if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal special summon, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Super Heavy Samurai in your grave, except Scales special summon defense position. You can use the effect of Scales once per turn. Very, very nice card. Free extender, so long as you control no monsters. And then being able to just revive a monster from your graveyard helps you go into your Exceeds plays, Synchro plays, and even Link plays. I'm playing 1 copy of Super Heavy Samurai Helper, a level 1 machine with 0/0 stats, and during damage calculation, very weird. Cool. Siri just wanted to do things that I didn't want it to do. So, during damage calculation, if your defense position monster battles an opponent's monster while you have no spells and trap cards in your graveyard quick effect, you can discard this card, then target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, other than the battling monster. Your battling monster gains defense equal to that opposing monster's defense. during that damage calculation only. When opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one super heavy samurai monster in your graveyard and special summon. Recovery card, and essentially a honest for the deck, which is very, very nice. I'm only playing as a one of because that's the only thing it does, so that's why I'm just playing it as a one of tech. I'm also playing one copy of Super Heavy Samurai Swordsman. This just have a lot of little gimmicks in the deck. This card has is that when this card's normal special summon, you can change its battle position. If a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control battles an opponent's monster, after damage calculation, that opponent's monster's attack and defense becomes 0. 1800 defense, so you can actually get this. Start swinging in with your lower point stat monsters, and Swordsman is just going to start reducing all your opponent's monsters to 0. And then your bigger monsters can start going in, swinging in, and getting that massive damage. It's very, very nice. It's just a one-off tech. The only other thing I'd probably play is Gloves. A card called Super Heavy Samurai Gloves, which can help excavate cards. But I'm playing the Swordsman as my one-off tech. The main tuner you're going to be using for the deck is Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeter. So what Trumpeter does is that he's a level 2 tuner. Is that if you have no spells and trap cards in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. After this card was special summoned this way, you cannot special summon monsters for this turn except Super Heavy Samurai monsters. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster sent to a graveyard, and you have no spells and trap cards in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Free summon tuner, and if you do tribute it for a Big Bang K or anything like that, or your Jade, that's probably the main thing you're going to be doing, like summon this, tribute it for Jade, and then this card then revives itself and can go into your main boss monster in the extra. Very, very good, so I play 3 of it. I'm playing one copy of Super Heavy Samurai Fist. So he's a level 2 tuner. During your battle phase, if a Super Heavy Samurai monster destroyed an opponent's monster by this battle phase, you can quick effects immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one synchro monster using materials you control, including this card. If you have no spells and traps in your graveyard, you can target one Super Heavy Samurai synchro monster you control, reduce its level by 1, and if you do, special summon this card from your graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Super Heavy Samurai monsters. Use each effect of Samurai Fist once per turn. So I'm just using as a tech. If you get this card out with like a Big Bang K, I just use Big Bang K as the main primary example because he's the only main deck boss monster we're playing multiples of. Swing in Big Bang K, do some damage, and then call Soul Fist, then quick synchro into your synchro boss monsters and do more damage. So it's gimmicky, but I'm playing as a one-off. The only other tuner I'm not playing deck is Battle Ball. Just I feel like Battle Ball is primarily good if you're playing things like Kaijus, and I'm not playing that variant. That's another variant you can play. Play a couple of Kaiju as some variant levels. Play your Battle Ball. Kaiju opponent Battle Ball lets you use monsters in your opponent's field to special summon your synchro monsters. So you can use the Kaijus and then start going to your synchro monsters. For my last tuner, I'm playing one copy of Samurai Drum. So Samurai Drum, it's a level 1 tuner. Is that if this card in the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one Super Heavy Samurai in graveyard except Drum. Special summon, you can use the effect of Drum once per turn. So it is a battle revival card. It just helps you in those sticky situations. Next for the soul monsters, I'm playing 3 copies of the best soul in the deck. Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer. So he's a level 4 machine. So you can target one Super Samurai you control, equip this card from your hand to your side of the field to that target. It attacks the defensive position, must inflict piercing battle damage. But if this card is sent from the field to your graveyard, you can add a Super Heavy Samurai from your deck to your hand. That does count. It doesn't have to be destroyed, it just has to be left. So if you equip this to like your Trumpeter, link it away, you're going to get the search of the Soul Piercer, which then you can start searching your extenders, keep going off and furthering on with your plays. It's the main thing you're going to be equipping with your wagon. Use your wagon, get the Soul Piercer, equip the Soul Piercer to the wagon, go into your link 1, search of the Soul Piercer, and off you go. Very, very good card. You have to play 3 copies of this. Probably one of the harder soul cards to get in the deck, but is definitely well worth it. It's essentially a little mini engine you can take into other decks as well. It's really cool. 3 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Peacemaker. Probably the next best sold in decks where I'm playing multiple copies of this. Target Super Heavy Samurai, put this card from your hand to that target. When this card is equipped to a monster by its effect, monsters your opponent controls cannot attack monsters you control except the equipped monster. You contribute a monster you control equipped with this card by its effect. Special summon Super Heavy Samurai from your deck, except Soul Piercer. A very, very good card, helps to out your Big Benkei from the deck. Very, very nice. Another card that you can search off your wagon. Wagon to this, equip that with the wagon, tribute off, go into your Big Benkei, start getting some damage in with your Big Benkei. One of the ways to get the big damage in is 3 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Gauntlet. So Gauntlet is that you can target Super Heavy Samurai, equip this card to that target, and it gains 400 defense. So during, bear in mind, you're upping the defense, but they can attack applying defense as damage. During either player's damage step, when a defensive position monster, Super Heavy Samurai you control battles against monster and you have nerves and spells trapped in graveyard, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Your battling monster's defense becomes double its original defense until the end of this turn. So you can either equip it for just a permanent 400 defense gain, or you can just send it and essentially honest your opponent with the defense. So bear in mind, your Big Benkei has 3500 defense. That's going to jump up to 7000. 7000 essentially damaging your opponent is insane. The only other thing, I'd probably drop this to 2 if I had multiple copies of this, or I've only got 1 copy of Super Heavy Samurai Soul Horns. Soul Horns is that you can equip it to target, and then it can make a second attack during each battle phase. When this card is equipped to a monster by its card's effect, you can special summon this card. You can use the effect of Soul Horns once per turn. So you can either equip it and that monster can start attacking twice, or you can unequip it and special summon it. It's very, very nice form of an extender, while also helping you get the damage. 1 copy of Super Heavy Samurai Soul Shield Wall. So you can equip it to a Super Heavy Samurai, and then that target gains 1200 defense, and when the equipped monster with this card's effect is targeted for an attack, you can send this equipped card to the graveyard and then get that attack, but the equipped monster's defense becomes 0. So it can avoid destruction, but a nice little 1200 defense buff is very, very handy. I'm playing 1 copy of Super Heavy Samurai Soul Claw. So Soul Claw, equip it to a Super Heavy Samurai, gains 500 attack and defense. Also, it can not be destroyed by battle. When this card is equipped to a monster by its card's effect, you can special summon this card. You can use the effect of Soul Claw once per turn. I'm rarely using it for the attack game. I'm mostly just using this to equip and then summon straight away. And I've got a level 2 extender. It's very, very handy. 1 copy of Super Heavy Samurai Soul Beads. It's like your recovery hand trap. It's very, very nice. So you can equip it to a monster, and each time, the first time it will be destroyed by a card effect, it is not destroyed. And when a defensive position monster is destroyed by balance centigrade, you can send this card from your hand, special summon that monster in attack position. That's the only downside, is that it does summon in attack, which your Super Heavy Samurais don't really have that much attack, because they're primarily defensive walls that do damage. So it's just a hit and miss, but I like to have it as a tech. This is the only non-Super Heavy Samurai monster that we're playing. I saw this as a tech card on another person's profile. But it's a really cool card. There's a new card that came out the set as well, which is called Performer Power Card Gardener. So it's a scale 8. So that once per turn you can target 1 face-up defense position monster you control. Its defense becomes equal to the combined original defense of all face-up defense position monsters you currently control, even if this card leaves the field. Monster effect against defense equal to the combined original defense of all other performer powers you control. You're not going to use it for its monster effect. You scale this, and then your defenses get huge. Like, huge. Because bear in mind, all of our monsters primarily have high defense. Target a monster, that high defense that all of our monsters share is just going to get stacked upon one monster. It's going to be huge damage to your opponent. Scale 8 is another high scale for the deck. You can start pendulum summoning to go into your synchro plays. So it's a cool little card tech that I'm playing in the deck. So I really like playing it. And the only 1 spell in the deck to run up the main deck is Sekka's Light. Draw 2, banish it, search a monster. You now have no spells in the graveyard, and you still net yourself 2 draws. You don't have to play it. It's a hit and miss with a few players. I like to play it just because, like, it's the only deck I'd ever play it in until it goes back up to 3 or something. Yes, Sekka's Light. That's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra. This profile is very long. I do apologize, but I have to read everything because, again, it's been forever since we did Super Heavy Samurai profile. Pardon me. So, brand new Link monster, Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. So, he's a Link 1 that takes 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster, 0 attack. Cannot be used as Link material. While you have no spells and traps cards in your graveyard, you take no battle damage from attacks involving its card. If you have no spells and trap cards in your graveyard, you can discard one monster and target 1 Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard, special summon to your zone this card points to in defense position. You can use this effect as Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow once per turn. So you Wagon into a Soul Piercer, equip Soul Piercer to Wagon, link Wagon off into this, search off with Soul Piercer, use Scarecrow to ditch the soul card you search, revive the card you search, then use that monster's effect if you wanted to start reviving things. So like you can search your Super Heavy Samurai Scales and you use your Scales to revive the Soul Piercer. Then you can use those to make a Synchro monster or a either a Link 2 or a rank 4 Exceeds, and then detach the Soul Piercer searches again. You can go off from there. You can see how the plays are going. Very, very nice card. You play it as at least 2 of. I'm playing as a 3 because we have the space. I'm going to play one other Link monster, and that is Mrs. Radiant, because it's Mrs. Radiant. You're playing Earth monsters primarily. If you're not locked into Super Heavy Samurai, you can make this, and all your monsters gain extra little bit of defense. Your main boss monster is Super Heavy Samurai Warlord Susanoo. It's the monster you're going to be summoning up the most, if not all the time. High defense with 3800 defense. It takes a machine type tuner and 1 or more non-tuner Super Heavy Samurai monsters. Can attack in defense position. It does apply its defense as damage. Once per turn during either player's turn, if you have no spells and traps and cards in your graveyard, you can target 1 spell trap card in your opponent's graveyard, set it to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. Start stealing your opponent's spells and traps and gain the advantage, without the downside of having them in your graveyard. 2 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Ogre Shujinjo. Essentially, it's a heavy storm for the deck, which is very, very nice for Harpy's Feather Duster. And then 2 copies of Super Heavy Samurai Swordsman Musashi. This is an extender synchro. You make this, you can revive a machine tuner in graveyard. You can start going off into further synchro plays and things like that. It's very, very nice. 1 copy of Stealth Ninja. This just 3 attacks directly, but only applies half the damage. And one of your big boss monsters that forms a Super Heavy Samurai Steam Train King. Not sure why they got a steam train, like it just feels very weird. But this is your big, huge boss monster if you really wanted to make it, but you're mostly going to be making your Warlord Susanoo. And then we're playing 1 copy of Naturia Beast and Naturia Valkyrion. You can play whatever you want. One thing I'd probably play is a copy of Gigan X, because it can help you with your combos. So that's probably something I'd put in. I'll probably take out the Valkyrion or the Stealth Ninja for it. But that, guys, is the deck. Sorry this is very long, 23 minutes and counting. But again, I had to go and explain at least the main deck monsters, why we're playing those main deck monsters and the ratios that we're playing. The extra deck is pretty free if you want to. I think the only important cards are the Scarecrow and at least 1 each of these guys. If you have those, like those are your main ones that you definitely need 100%. Everything else is pretty fair game for whatever you want. Just bear in mind that a lot of your best plays do lock you into Super Heavy Samurai, so you don't want to be playing too much variety in your extra deck, just because it's hard to play variety if you don't have access to it. So there is that. But guys, again, hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it took so long. But again, just had to. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe down below, comment down below what you think of this and everything like that. Hit that notification bell. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling.